reader of the Salisbury Post, and we will start with Mr. Steen. A significant portion of the federal budget is devoted towards mandatory spending, most notably Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. What is your detailed view for saving and improving Medicare and Social Security benefits? Mr. Steen.
Well, I think we have to take a strong look at this, and I think that there's been several plans laid out. Some of those plans include changes in current benefits, which I'm opposed to. There are some other there are some other plans out there that preserve the current benefits to many recipients, and then impact some others down the road. I think we preserve the folks that have been paying into the system. We have to make some modifications for the new entries that are coming into the system. And the system itself, we need to quit robbing from the Social Security Trust Fund. That is something that needs to be taken care of in the budgetary process, and we need to live with that. These taken away from the trust fund has crippled our Social Security fund, and we cannot continue to do this. We've got to change the practices of robbing from Peter to pay Paul. We also need to turn the economy around so that we have more people working again. We have logistically the way our society has changed. We're having less people being born now, and more people are paying out of the system than paying into the system. So we have to take a real comprehensive look at how we're going to impact this. I think that the best way to deal with Social Security is to make sure that we look at all the waste and fraud that is going on with the administration, and to be careful on how we implement further benefits down the road. We need to freeze what benefits we do have now, and make sure that we preserve the folks that have paid into the system, and they get to be in the front of the line, not in the back of the line.
The so-called trust fund of the Social Security program lasted a whopping 2 years before the government started dipping into that bank account, because they needed money due to issues relating to the Depression. There's not been another dime deposited into the trust fund since that time. Had the government kept its greedy fingers out of the trust fund, there'd probably be a little over $3 trillion in that particular fund. And so Social Security would be pretty well substantiated and strengthened for quite a long time, but that's not the case. What is it going to take? Well, one, is going to take a miracle, because the so-called government officials up there have considered both Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid such a hot potato because they want to vote. And if you're interested in staying in Washington and being a career politician, you're going to not do the work that needs to be done. As a physician, I can tell you right now that there should be some type of strict liability reform. As a doctor, I practice defensive medicine every day. So does every doctor I know. And we're talking literally thousands upon thousands of dollars. If you come into the emergency room and you got a little bump on your head, guess what? You're getting a CAT scan. Guarantee you are. Not only that, you're going to get a bunch of x-rays of your neck and so forth and so on. By the time you leave, you're going to be spending thousands upon thousands of dollars. If you want to try to regulate some of these programs, one, you've got to have liability reforms, because we're spending too much money protecting ourselves. Number two, you have to make the criteria to enter these programs much stricter. I can tell you over and over again how many people know how to game the system, and it's being gamed every single day. Most of the people on Medicaid should not even qualify for it. Medicare, when it started, the whole rules have changed. Same way with Social Security. There's a lot that can be done, but we have to make sure we adhere to the criteria, and we do need legislative legal reforms in terms of liability for malpractice cases.
Thank you. Mr. Rice.
Thank you. First of all, it needs to be said that Larry Kissel's plan for Social Security is to let the system go bankrupt, and everyone loses their benefits. That's his plan. He has no solutions. President Obama has no solutions. What they do is they stand on the sidelines, and anytime anyone in good faith offers reform ideas, they scare seniors and they say, this candidate is going to take away your Social Security. And it is shameful the way they do that. And so it's important to understand that context for this debate. Social Security is the easiest to fix. Every year we wait, as I said, it gets more expensive. As far as I'm concerned, all options are on the table. Got to look at retirement age, got to look at the benefits. You know, there's a simple formula where you can bring that into balance, but some tough decisions need to be made. As far as I'm concerned, all options are on the table, and we need to look at that. When it comes to Medicare, we've got to return the market into healthcare. We've got to drive down healthcare costs. We cannot continue to have the federal government pay for healthcare. We can't move towards the Obamacare model where everyone's on Medicare and expect costs to come down. Healthcare costs a lot of money because I deal with my doctor and I say do everything that you can. And then the doctor deals with the insurance company, and then the insurance company comes to me and says your rates are going up, and I get mad. But I don't understand that my decisions and the things I told the doctor to do have an impact on the healthcare. And so as we can get a market into healthcare, as we can move towards increasing health savings accounts so that people can make educated decisions with their money, they can then have a high deductible catastrophic health insurance plan to deal with those kinds of issues. We need more transparency of healthcare costs from hospitals and doctors so that people can make good decisions. If I have a heart attack right here, take me to the closest hospital. I don't want to shop around. But if I've got to have elective surgery, I ought to be able to shop around, and that will drive down costs and help Medicare, Medicaid, block grant to the states.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mr. Kay.
Well, yeah, I think if you start if you start to talk about, you know, trying to make sure that we're not spending more than we're taking in, you have to take some of these things into consideration that, for instance, Mr. Steen was pointing out. And you have to say to yourself, well, you know, what can we do about this, and how can we make sure to keep our promises to the people who are counting on the system? You know, I have a plan that I've published. It's Scott Cato's Plan for America. It's on my website, www.cato.com. You can look it up. It's 21 pages. It's about 10,000 words. It's a little bit of dry reading, but if you want to know, and I have it right here in front of me, and, you know, I might as well just tell you what it says. You know, we should establish a system of voluntary personal retirement accounts that workers would own and could use to build nest eggs for retirement. These accounts would give all workers the flexibility to increase their retirement income above what Social Security could pay. This important reform would ensure the government's ability to honor the commitments made to current Social Security recipients while restoring the viability of the system for future recipients. It will save Social Security, expand freedom, and promote economic growth. I think that the plan for Medicare is that it needs to be transformed over a period of about 5 years as per the Heritage Plan, from an unsustainable defined benefit entitlement into a properly budgeted program that focuses Medicare subsidies on those who need them the most. Medicare should be made more like the federal employees' health benefit program, the health care system that members of Congress and federal employees use. And I think with 13 seconds to go that we can do this. I honestly think we can, but we're going to have to commit to doing it, and we're going to have to take some of these sensible out of time. Sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Robbins.
Oh.
I hope the audience and our viewers understand that the country is broke, and that the only reason you got a Social Security check last week is because either the Fed printed the money and lowered the value of that check you got, or borrowed the money from our enemies, the communist Chinese generals or sovereign funds in the Middle East, and gave your grandchildren the bill. The Tea Party debt commission budget addresses each of the items that we're discussing in this question. The first being Medicaid. Medicaid is a gold-plated plan. I believe in helping people who can't help themselves. I do not believe in driving the country off a cliff in order to have higher and higher eligibility for Medicaid. So we need to block grant that to the states and tell the states to make the tough decisions. North Carolina has to give up its gold-plated Medicaid plan. End of story. With regard to Social Security,